So we're going to make this weekly for now. We may switch over and make it daily. And certainly, hopefully they're in the postseason and we do daily games for those and, you know, that type of stuff. And we may do special one offs. But for now, with how my schedule works, with how everything is going, I think a weekly show makes more sense. Kraken played 4 games in the week, and it'll be every Friday, by the way, every Friday night. So Kraken played 4 games, and they won 3 of those, and that's very good. They win 5-4 at Minnesota in a shootout. They lose to Dallas in 2-0, and then Nashville to complete the 3-game road trip. They win 7-3, and they beat Philadelphia 6-4. Good week, a good week. But let's start with some negatives. First of all, I'm not sure any of the teams they beat are very good. I know Nashville's not great. I know Nashville's not great. At this time of recording, I do not believe Nashville has won a game. Nope, 0-4. It's early to just completely write someone off, but I think Colorado's 0-4. I don't think Colorado's going over for the season. There's your hot take that the Kraken, the Avalanche, will win a hockey game. Kraken will too. They've already won 3 of them. But they did not beat the Titans of the industry. And their one game against a really good team, they came up very short. They did not play well against Dallas. Only 2-0, but they were thoroughly outplayed in every aspect of the game. And to be fair, that's against maybe the best team in the Western Conference. I say that, and I should probably think, I don't know who's better. Like, looking at the standings right now, and obviously it's extremely early. There's 77 games left to be played for most teams and 78 for a few others. I can't think of a better team than Dallas in the Western Conference. I know Vegas is your defending champion, and there's some good teams in the Western Conference. I think Dallas is the best. So it's okay to lose, and it's okay to be outplayed. I just wish their one true test so far, they looked a little bit better. I think I would have liked them to look a little bit better. Negatives, other than the fact that they got outplayed in Dallas by, again, a considerable margin, this defense scares me. And it's not just the goaltending. We'll talk about that more in a second, but there's just too many easy looks against this team. And while I think there are quality defensemen on this team, we'll talk about them in a second, it's not necessarily those guys known for being quality stoppers. And, Jamie Alexiak had one really big game. He's not good. He's not good right now. He has not played well at all. They need him to get going. Or they need his minutes to start going to other folk. And it's probably the latter. Because it's not like Alexiak's a 24-year-old. It's a veteran, a big veteran. And that skill set in all sports tends to age poorly. Maybe outside of football. But big dude who has made some costly turnovers, who's made some costly plays, or not made some costly plays, I guess is the way. No, you know what I'm saying. Probably. He's got to be better. He's got to be better, or those minutes need to start going to guys like Riker Evans, who I have been impressed. We'll talk about the positives, I promise. The goaltending. I know why they're doing this. We all know why. If Grubauer was making $2 million, you would see Joey Decord getting the overwhelming minutes. By the way, since our last video, Joey Decord signing a contract extension. Awesome. Absolutely great to see. He is their number one goaltender of the future. But I think he needs to play more now. And look, Grubauer was one of the few positives, actually, I think, against Dallas. He gives up those first 2 goals, but after that, he played well. There's just too many easy goals that get scored against the guy. And no, I'm not saying Decord is perfect, but I have so much more confidence when Decord is in net than I do when Grubauer is. But let's just be honest here. Philip Grubauer is making a lot of money, and he is going to get his playing time. either as a way to, there's two ways, things you could be looking at here. Number one, to get the most value out of that contract. And number two, maybe as a little bit of a showcase, hoping that maybe somebody would be interested in a trade. I can't imagine who would be, but very hard to get any value for him if he's not playing. But I want Philip Grubauer to be the backup goaltender, not a 1A, 1B thing. And right now he's 1A. You know, they've literally rotated every single game. And I just don't like that situation. Now, it's one of the few things. Goaltending often gets compared to positions like quarterback and starting pitcher and stuff. It's much closer to starting pitcher than quarterback, that's for sure. You can win with having a 1A and a 1B. I mean, teams have won championships with very average goaltending, some below average goaltending. The Kraken aren't good enough, I think, to compete for a title. And I don't think they're competing for a title either way. Let's make that clear. But to make as deep a run as possible, I don't think they're good enough to go 1A, 1B. I think Decord has to be the guy. Doesn't sound like they agree with me. Negatives offensively, there's not a ton outside of, again, they played very poorly against Dallas. Need Matty Beniers to start producing. I think he's played okay, and he's a vastly underrated defensive player, but there has to be production there. There has to be production there. And so far, through 5 games, I believe Beniers has 1 point. Can I confirm that real quick? Could have paused and looked, but yeah, 1 point. That's not good enough. He is tied for last on the team in points. The only player who has not scored a point for this team so far is the well-regarded Joshua Mahuras, who I absolutely knew was a Kraken before I started this. Yeah, Beniers has to be better. And again, I think it's a case of him being a little more assertive. He's got to be a little more selfish because he does a lot of little things that he just doesn't get credit for. You know, it just doesn't show up in the score sheet. But if you watch him play, you watch Matty Beniers do a lot of great things. You see Matty Beniers have really good shifts that set up goals in the next shift, or he's often the guy who gets the assist before the assist, you know? And I know there's 2 assists in hockey just before anybody yells at me, but oftentimes he's setting up the setup. And he does a great job of not staying stagnant with the puck, and he is such a good two-way player. But he has to be productive. They need Matty Beniers to be a 60-point guy. That's the only way I can see this team truly competing in the Western Conference. Unless another guy takes a step forward, and we'll talk about him in a sec. But I need Matty Beniers to be better. You know who I never need to be better? Simply Seattle, because they are the very best and have the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Kraken, of course, but also the Supersonics, the Huskies, the Cougars, the Storm, the Mariners. You can find it all at simplyseattle.com and use code MOLLYWOP15, MOLLYWHOP15, to save 15% off your order. It's a great deal from great people. www.simplyseattle.com, link in the description. Okay, the positives. The offense in particular, the last 2 games, and really 3 of the last 4 has been fantastic. Fantastic. And I think the guy who deserves the majority of that credit right now is Jordan Eberle. And by the way, I wanted to bring up such a great move naming him captain. Such a great move. He should have been named captain last year. The fact that they didn't have a captain last year was honestly pretty dumb. And I know, you know, captain is earned, blah, blah, blah. Jordan Eberle's the leader of this team. Jordan Eberle should have been with that C. And it's great to see Beniers, and I think that's a role that he'll take because, look, Jordan Eberle's not going to be around forever. That sounded more morbid than I meant it to, but, you know, there's a reason why Jordan Eberle didn't sign like a 5-year extension when he re-signed with the Kraken. But he's the leader of the team. I thought that was a great move, and he's played phenomenally over these first 5 games. So is Jared McCann. Their wing production has been really good. You've gotten 7 points out of Jared McCann. You've gotten 6 out of Eberle. You've gotten 4 out of Burakovsky. Still looking to light the back of the net, but, has already picked up those 4 assists. Bjorkstrand has already gotten 2 goals and an assist. The wing play has been really good. I don't think you can complain about the wing play whatsoever from this team. And it is the strength of this team, too. Ellie Tolvanen, the ever so underrated Ellie Tolvanen with a couple of goals early on. Jaden Schwartz, lines up his center a lot, but, a lot of times playing on that wing as well. I think they have been fantastic. And what else has been fantastic is the offensive play from the defensive players. Like we talked about Alexiak, those 2 assists were huge in that game. Huge. Brandon Montour is the best player on the Kraken. And I'm not surprised by that, but I don't think it's even close. I think that Brandon Montour is easily the best player. And what you saw against Philadelphia in particular, that's why you pay the guy the way you did. I think that Brandon Montour is going to be the most popular Kraken player not very long. If he isn't, no, he's not already. That's for sure. But I think he's played well. Riker Evans already has 4 points for you. Vince Dunn, 3 points in 4 games. They have some really skilled defensemen in terms of what they can do offensively for this team. Are they the greatest stoppers? No, not even close. But they do their job offensively, and they keep the puck moving. I've been so much more impressed, and this is where I think we have to talk about the new head coach, Dan Bylsma. Hopefully I'm saying that right again. I think he's been fantastic, and I love the way they've looked offensively. I don't know how much his choice is to do the Grubauer Decord 1-2. Don't love that decision if it is his. Don't love that decision no matter who that's making that decision. But I've been really impressed with just the puck movement. The puck movement, not just relying on dumping the puck down and hoping for rebounds, like actual, for lack of a better term, ball movement. The offense isn't stagnant. And I think that's going to be huge for this team. It's very important for a team, I think, in hockey. And again, let me clarify that I am not an extreme expert at this. I know more about baseball and football than hockey. But it seems pretty obvious to me just watching this team how important it is when you don't have an elite scorer, when you don't have that PPG guy, that point per game guy, how important it is to move that puck around. Because you've got to create those angles and you have to keep the defense honest. Because you don't have that guy who can just light it up, or that guy who is going to make that individual move that no matter how good you play defensively is going to beat your tender and your 2 defensemen. They don't have that guy. They have some good players, but they don't have that elite scorer. They don't have that guy. So they have to be some of their parts has to add up to something really special. And so far, I think through the first 5 games, they've mostly done that. If I was going to give them a grade for these first 5 games, I'd probably go B+. Now, that's with an A on offense and a C- on defense and goaltending. But I'll take that because they didn't look like that very often in 2023, 2024. Oh, and Shane Wright. Man, how good was he last game? He's got to play more, I think. Now he's averaging 14 minutes and 15 on the ice. He's got to eat into some of the Brandon Tanev minutes, and I know they don't play the same position, but I want to see that guy on the ice more often. And I think he's starting to earn the trust to suggest that he will. He's got a chance to be special. Like, Matty Beniers I again think is a really good hockey player. He doesn't have anywhere close to the ceiling of Brandon Wright, or Shane Wright, excuse me. Brandon Wright was a power forward for the for North Carolina and then a few NBA teams. But Shane Wright, I think, has clearly got the higher ceiling. I think Beniers has the higher floor, in particular because he's such a good defensive player. Remains to be seen what type of defensive player that Shane Wright will be. My guess is not a great one, but that's okay. That's okay, especially when you're pairing him with a guy like Matty Beniers as your other center. Good team. Good potential team is what I meant to say there. That's a good pairing. Words are hard. So, yeah, let me know what you thought of this week. I thought it was solid, really solid. We did not see a lot of win 3 out of 4 last year. And sure, again, they did not play the best teams in hockey, but you got wins and you got convincing wins. And I love the way this team has kind of rallied, especially since that first loss where, you give up those 3 goals, bang, 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 and you don't play all that great afterwards. They've looked like a team with a little more edge since then. Tell me what you think. Please hit like and subscribe. Very much appreciate the support. We'll be back on Sunday for the Seahawk game, and then we'll start our Mariner daily recaps. We'll start our Mariner daily recaps of players. I'm not talking anymore. Go Kraken.